have only for a science show my game at bar Akomea so na Ibora Seminuma and Akomea NPP Mapana or the same to draft Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who to so no dear Kudinka the solid support case or Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia Duchem Kurana as somebody to your next when you saw catch was saying to say before we also feel northern region also back parts and I saw 80 parts in the new Abiasu to me Akosu or parts in the news after 2024 election opportunity John Domani Mahama one who you pan over no sufficient Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia sufficient to me to me say mbed ye paso kwa bia so no Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia hwe nim se ba able to be edin kunme no so sem or to the super delegate a conference be so delegate flag worship election be so no nim se Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia edin kan edin kunu dada no so se ba pe edu to ye ko tie se na Akomea so to nim to so edu to bia.
You know, the NPP, we've always suffered from a certain branding from our opponents. Every election after election, they repeat that branding.
What is that?
And the branding is that, this is an Akan party. If you are not Akan, you can't be their leader. You hear them in Accra. When I've experienced it, they tell people that, well, these people, you vote for them, they'll take the sea to Kumasi.
But you're an Akan party.
You have also been fooled. And then they go to the coast, they tell them...
Your evidence shows you are, at least in the leadership of your party.
You hear NDC, like President Mahama, for example, saying that, no, these people, you can't be their leader. They're just using you and all of that. So we suffer that branding.
But it's based on your history.
Now, well...
You accept that?
Okay, so in Dr. Bawumia, we have a good chance to neutralize that branding of the party.
To what? Change the brand from a party to what?
Change the brand from a camp party, a party that is all-inclusive. We've always been an all-inclusive party.
You haven't been, at least not at the leadership level. Okay. You haven't been.
So now we have the tool in our hands to change that branding, and that is Dr. Bawumia. So that is an icing on the cake.
Because he comes from the north.
Because he's not a Akan. Now...
But will you be accused of playing the tribal card?
You can interpret it the way you want. We interpret it as changing the brand of the party and giving the party a more inclusive brand that will neutralize the propaganda.
The special electoral college, do they care about that?
Absolutely. Because they care about having a candidate who will win the elections. Now, if you have a candidate like Dr. Bawumia, who would give you a more inclusive branding and will neutralize the NDC's propaganda. How do you define an establishment candidate? Somebody who's got a support of the president?
One.
That's the definition?
He is a vice president. He is the very embodiment of the establishment.
We used to have a vice president who contested in 2008. We didn't call him establishment candidate. Why are we calling this one the establishment? Is it because the president supports him? Because the president himself has come out categorically that I don't support anybody.
Many of them who are sat here with me at that point say they don't believe the president.
Look, do you know Afia Akoto?
Yes.
He's a boyhood friend of the president. Do you know Bwachia Jaku?
Yes.
He was the campaign manager for the president of 2 elections. Huh?
And then you can all come upon who also a campaign manager of his.
So any of them can have the president's support.
None of them have been his.
Unless the president categorically, sorry.
None of them have
but
been.
If I've said there has been a vice president who was not classified as an establishment candidate. So being vice president automatically doesn't mean you have the president's support. Look, I am an appointee of the president. I support Bawumia. I have told you why. When we go to the campaign, I see a lot of government appointees like myself. And I'm happy. Now, I'm happy that these people are also on the campaign. Now, I do not think any of them is supporting Dr. Bawumia because the president has called them and asked them to do so. How is it possible in the NPP that you can coerce anybody to support a candidate? Can I be coerced? And I take myself as an example. I'm
the president can do.
if you remember, in the period after 2012. In 2008, when he was selected as the running mate, it was barely 5 months to the elections. We didn't see much of him. Then he was repeated as running mate in 2012. Then the NPP was declared the losers in 2012 elections, and the NPP decided to go to court to challenge the results. Now, you had a 3-week window to gather your evidence and file at the Supreme Court. It involves a lot of work, getting all the pink sheets together and doing the analysis and making sure you have a solid case all within 3 weeks before you went to the Supreme Court. And all that work was largely done by this Dr. Bawumia in December 2012. And some of us who were part of that effort saw the hard work that the man put in, working day and night, getting the pink sheets together. There were about 25,000 of them, if you remember. And getting all this together, doing the photocopies and doing the analysis of every pink sheet to build a solid case. And we also, when he presented the work that he has done before the Supreme Court, those 8 months when he was the star witness and facing formidable NDC lawyers, we saw the work that he did. And even though the NPP didn't win the court case, there were many changes that came into our electoral system recommended by the judges themselves as a result of the flaws pointed out by Dr. Bawumia. They led to many changes in the electoral system. You know, the NPP, we've always suffered from a certain branding from our opponents. Every election after election, they repeat that branding.
What is that?
And the branding is that, this is an Akan party. If you are not Akan, you can't be their leader. You hear them in Accra, and I've experienced it. They tell people that, well, these people, you vote for them, they'll take the sea to Kumasi.
But you're an Akan party.
You have also been fooled.